All right, time for a new tutorial. Half square triangles. No matter what quilt you make, they're everywhere, right? They're in my cowboy crisscross pattern. They're also in this Stetson cross. So I'm gonna show you a really easy solution for that you might not like me at the end, but they will be perfect, okay? Because I do take an extra step in creating them. Essentially, I make them larger than they need to be, and then I cut them down so that they're exact. What happens often sometimes is that when you open them up, you actually end up with a not exact, right, measurement. And so what I do is I go through the process of making them just a little bit bigger and then cutting them down to the exact size and discarding the part that might not be perfect, okay? So while I know there's a lot of tutorials out there on how to do half square triangles, I like my version, even though it requires an extra step, just because at the end of the day, you'll end up with a perfect half square triangle. All right, so let's get started. Okay, just real quick, to reiterate, for the Stetson cross, you need 3.5-inch half square triangle, which is 3.5 inches cut. It'll be 3 inches finished by the time it's into the quilt. So, we're just gonna focus on that. These same principles can be applied to whatever size that you need. I know this is gonna have to be 3.5 inches. So I'm gonna cut strips that are 4 inches wide, and then I'm gonna cut it down to 3.5. But let's start with the 4-inch strips. Okay, so I am just using scrap fabric here since I have already done my Stetson cross, and I'm not reproducing it again, nor do I have any more fabric. So I'm just using scraps here, okay? What the first thing you want to do is, like I said, cut your 2 4-inch strips, and you're going to put them face to face, right, like this, and grab them like this. And once they're face to face, just line them up real good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler that has a 45-degree angle on it, right here, 45-degree angle. Wow, it's really shiny. Sorry about that. Okay, so 45-degree angle, and I'm going to line that 45-degree angle up with the edge. Let me get in really close here so that you can see that. Put the 45-degree angle here. Can you see it? It runs right along here. And I'm gonna line that 45-degree angle up with the edge of the fabric. Now, I'm doing this in a regular marker. Do not do that, all right? Use a wash away or a chalk or something like that. I'm doing this for demonstration purposes only so that you can see it in a darker ink. All right, there we go. And you're just going to line it up, essentially drawing your 45-degree line there, like that. And again, do it on your lighter fabric. The darker fabric is underneath. Then you're gonna take your quarter inch mark from there and draw another line next to it, and then a third next to that one. So you end up with 3 lines that look like that. Now, you're gonna line up just one of the lines here and look at your 45-degree, your quarter inch where it kind of hits at the corner here, and you're gonna draw a line like this vertically, and then you're gonna switch it around so that now your 45-degree angle is here, right? And I know I'm drawing along this edge, so I want to make sure that I am, again, about 1/4 inch at least from this line here to where my new line is going to meet. All right, so that's one line, and again, we draw 3 lines. One, and then the next one, which lines up right along here. Right, and then a third one. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep doing that, and it's important that the lines come down here and then back that way, right? And then they're gonna come back down this way again. So again, 1/4 inch from where this last line has met the edge, right? So now I have that there, and I'm gonna just scoot this down so you can see it. And so I'll just keep doing that all the way down the fabric. Again, drawing on the lighter fabric, and keep doing 3 lines that are 1/4 inch apart, just like this. 1, and then this is line number 2 and number 3. So I'm just gonna do that all the way down, and then I'll show you what it looks like once I'm done. All right, I am done drawing my lines. See, just 3 lines here, and then across, 3 lines, and they just zigzag back and forth, right, on the 45-degree angle, all the way down to the end. Okay? So then what we do is we look at the 3 lines, and we know that the 2 exterior lines are where you sew, and the middle line is where you cut. But you gotta sew first before you cut, and I always use a walking foot with this so that you are bringing both fabrics through at the same speed. So I'm gonna sew along here, and then one of the lines going that way, and then one of the lines coming back this way, and then one of the lines going back that way, just back and forth to the end, and then turn it around, and then come back the other way so that all of your exterior lines of the 3 lines are sewn on. Got it? All right, ready to start sewing here? My fabrics are indeed face to face so that when you open it up, it looks good, right? And the way that you've drawn it is on your light fabric. That's what you're gonna be sewing on. I'm gonna be coming down this way on one of the exterior lines and then back down the other way. Let's get started. Make sure your strips are good and lined up and ready to go. So I go down to the end of my strip here, right? And I'm ready to head back up the other way. Just turn this strip around and you're ready to start going on the other exterior of the 3 lines, headed back the other direction. I just pulled it out of the machine, and it gets a bit janky at the sides, at the corners, where the threads were, you know, kind of loose, right, where I turned it around. And so if you just cut those, it'll actually release that tension that is on there, right? So again, just those extra threads where I turned it around, where these 2 corners meet. See how it's kind of pulling, right? So just go in there and grab the extra thread that's just hanging out at the side there and cut that, and that'll release the tension that you're kind of experiencing there. So go through, and again, where all these points meet right here, there's gonna be a little extra thread because I kind of turned it around. Cut those to release that tension. And then you should have something that we can actually start cutting. All right, just to show you close up, see how this is kind of puckering, right? That's exactly the point where there's all this extra thread. You can see it, it's in red, right? That's kind of giving me tension right there, okay? So that's what I'm cutting as I go through to release that, and now it'll lay flat. All right, so I've gone through and cut all those extra threads. You can see that I have sewn on, oh, there's another one. You can see that I have sewn on the lines with red thread. And so now it's laying as flat as possible. I'm gonna just cut on the lines I haven't sewn on, right? So I'll start down at the end here. I'm gonna cut this off, this excess garbage. Cut the diagonal line that's in the middle, giving me my first half square triangle. Then the next one in the middle, giving me my second one. All right, so you just go along and slice and dice, shablam. We are making half square triangles. Did you know it could be this easy? And just do that all the way down. All right, so I've gone through and cut all those pieces out, right? And you end up with these little triangles that have the one sewed piece on it. And so what we're gonna do next is just iron that open. I like to set the seams first. Not everybody does that, but I actually will iron down the seams and then taking the dark side, folding it over, just give that a light little press and then a slightly stronger push the second time. All right, pushing those open. And so you end up with a beautiful half square triangle that's ready to be cut into the perfect size. So I know on this that I'm looking for a 3.5 inch square, right? I really love this ruler. It's 6.5 inches square and it has this 1/2 inch kind of colored part. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking the 45-degree angle and I'm lining it up with the middle and I'm looking for the best section within this piece. And this is the extra step that a lot of people probably wouldn't take, but I'm a little nuts in terms of making things perfect. So I'm gonna find like the best area and I'll actually search, right, along the sewn part that's ironed open where the best section is, because I know I need, right, 1, 2, 3.5. So I'm just focusing on this little window right here. That's gonna give me my 3.5 square half triangle. And then I'm gonna kind of like go up and down with it to find the best section of this and cut off the extra here and then flip it around and complete it into that perfect 3.5 inch half square triangle. Ta-da! So yeah, while my process may involve one more step than a lot of others, I really like it because again, it gives me the opportunity to cut out any kind of not so great part and then make sure that every single one that I create is perfect and looks great. Anyways, I hope that that's helpful. This way you can create half square triangles. Again, just start with a larger strip and then your finished is, your cut is asking for, and then you can cut it down to size and it'll be perfect every time. Thank you again for tuning into Quilting Cowboy, and I hope that was helpful.